Okay, let's continue. So we have a Manjushri Hall. It was mainly dedicated to the Manjushri Bodhisattva. We mentioned on the back screen, there is a fragment of the lion's tail. So based on the lion's tail, scholars identify the main statue on the platform, originally enshrined with Manjushri Bodhisattva. And also, we have a whole map of the Mount Wutaishan on the back wall, on the west wall. So on the west wall, it is a depiction with the whole map of the Mount Wutaishan. So this is a very interesting design inside the cave. And also inside the cave, we have another feature with the creation in the Buddhist cave. On the four corners on the ceiling, the appearance with the four guardian king, 四大天王, appeared in cave now. So the four guardian king of the heaven designed on the four corners. So here you can see the guardian king figure. So later in Chinese Buddhist temple, if we are entering into a Buddhist temple, we will first enter to the heavenly hall, the Tiangong, with the four guardian king and also one Maitreya Buddha. So that is the later Buddhist temple design. But in cave design, during this time period, we have the four guardian king designed on the four corners inside the cave. And also on the west wall, it has a very detailed depiction of the map, the traveling route of Mount Wutaishan. So maybe you can think about in the later Tang dynasty, the artists and painter, they are really very clever. They draw and design a travel map in Cave 61 so that they can pay a pilgrimage trip inside the Cave 61 to worship to the Manjushri Bodhisattva, and also following the travel routes to worship to the 5 peaks of the Wutaishan inside the cave. So they don't need to travel to Shanxi province. So here, based on the scholars' research, all the name of the temple and also the miraculous story happened that were designed on the whole map. It was made according to the historical record of Mount Wutaishan. So you can find and identify the location of the temple in Wutaishan nowadays. And this is a type of the back screen cave. So in the later Tang and the Song, we have this type of cave design on the platform enshrined with the group of the Buddhist sculpture. Another type of cave is the Nirvana cave. So in the Nirvana cave, we have a main altar enshrined with a sleeping Nirvana Buddha. So this is a shape like a coffin. The Nirvana cave, it is a shape just like a coffin. And on the wall, we have the painting with after the Buddha's Nirvana, all of his disciples and Bodhisattva, they come for the mourning of the Buddha's passing away. So we can identify from the facial expression and also distinguish the facial expression from the Arahat and the Bodhisattva are totally different. Here we have a group of the Arahat, and we have a group of the Bodhisattva. So if we examine their facial expression, you will find the Bodhisattva, they keep very calm and at peace in the facial expression. However, the Arahat, they were very sad. So you can see the difference of their cultivation and different of their status in practice of Buddhist attainment. So in order to convey the Arahat is lower in the level, lower than the Bodhisattva. So the Arahat, they still have a strong emotion when they heard and they know Buddha passed away. So this is a depiction of the mourning scene during the Buddha's nirvana. So we have the nirvana Buddha sleep in the sleeping posture, and we have the nirvana cave architecture design in the Middle Tang Dynasty. And in the Middle Tang Dynasty, that is a time period Dunhuang were occupied by Tibetan. So there are different artistic element and the cultural element were added and combined in the cave. So this is a Nirvana cave from 158, and here is the Nirvana cave from 148. So in comparison with the sculpture of the Nirvana Buddha in 158 and 148, both caves are equal importance. However, the artistic achievement of both sculptures are different. Which one you like? The Nirvana Buddha? Which one you prefer? The 158? Yeah, I think most of you prefer this one because the very beautifully made and designed of the Nirvana Buddha from 158. So in comparison with the Buddha, the Nirvana Buddha from 148, so some of the caves were also under protection, under the protection by designing with the wooden architecture on the outside the cave to protect the sunshine and also the rain damage the cave. So we can find the wooden eave architecture remain in front of the cave. So there are a few wooden eave structure still preserved in Dunhuang. And sometimes we can find of the mural painting from outside the cave. So in front of a cave with a wooden eave, wooden roof, and we can find the mural painting on the wall. So the color tone were all decayed outside the cave. So this is one part that we can examine the Dunhuang art. So following the previous very beautiful cave, now let's go to the North District. The North District is a very quiet area and not too open to public. So there are total 248 caves here. So most of the caves here were used only for living and meditation. They are also used for burial purpose, for memorial purpose, and for storage purpose. So this is an area we call the Northern District. So in Dunhuang, here on the left is the Southern District. So here is the Northern District. So most of the visitor, they never know that Dunhuang, there is an area. It is also preserved 200 more caves there. But this area is not open to public. So we can just know the for different purpose for using. And here we have the area for the storage, for the burial purpose. So if the monk, after they are passing away, we also find their skeleton preserved inside the cave. And the area were used for meditation, and also the architectural type of the northern district is very similar to Indian prototype of the meditation cave. So according to Buddhist discipline, according to the Vinaya, if the Buddhist monastery, they are planning to build the cave, there are certain regulations for the designing of the width and the height and the size of the bed for Buddhist monk for their sleeping. There are certain regulations for the size, a very strict regulation for designing of the bed for Buddhist monk for their sleeping. So you can also find in India, from Nasik cave, the inside the Vihara cave, the very simple design of the Vihara. So this is a typical space for the monks for their living. And we also have the burial cave for Buddhist monk after their death. So this is one cave I took a photo many years ago when I visited the Mogao, when the director Fan Jinshi, she got her acknowledgement and admission, so we can visit the northern district to take a look of the Vihara cave and also the burial cave. So it is still preserved with the skeleton for the Buddhist monk. They still preserve it in the original condition. They don't remove or clean it now. So we can see the original to be used by the monks after their death. And we also have the giant Buddha, the giant Maitreya Buddha. It was made in the early town, in the cave 96. And this is also a cave with the landmark on outside the cave with a 9-story wooden building. And this is also the giant Buddha. It will be open during the Buddha's birthday. During the Buddha's birthday, 佛诞节, Dunhuang will open the cave for all the public to worship to the Buddha. So this is a local traditional culture by the local people in Dunhuang. So during the history, the local people, they live in Dunhuang, they all worship to the Buddha, and worship to the Buddha and pray to the Buddha. And we also have another very interesting cave, that is the cave 17 and the cave 16. So what is the type of cave 16? What is the type? Remember? The architectural type? The back screen. So you can see a very huge back on the screen on the back of the Buddha. So the cave 16 is a very huge cave. And when we enter into the cave, we will pass by the corridor, a very long corridor, and we will see the cave 17 just besides the corridor. So we have the cave 17 here. So it is the library cave. Originally, it preserved the Buddhist manuscript inside the cave. But now it was all the manuscript removed, all out of the Dunhuang Academy to preserve in their collection, and also to be removed by Oral Stein to British Museum, by Paul Pellier to France, and some of them were removed to Russia, Japan, and also some of them were preserved in National Library in Beijing. So the manuscript were preserved in different locations. So originally they were all preserved in Cave 17. So inside the Cave 17, now we have a sculpture of the eminent Buddhist monk Hongbian in the Tang Dynasty. So the statue of Hongbian, he was an eminent monk. He was responsible for the management of the Buddhist community in Dunhuang, and he is responsible for the communicating with the Tang government during that time. And because his great contribution to Dunhuang in the Tang Dynasty, so after his pass away, his disciple make a realistic sculpture of Master Hongbian and enshrined in the cave. So the cave originally it was used for meditation by Master Hongbian. So you can see the Master Hongbian, he used the Cave 17 as his practicing meditation. So we have a platform. So you can see the platform originally is a meditation bed for him. And after his passing away, his disciple create his sculpture as a memorial cave for him. So his bone ashes was also preserved together inside the sculpture. It was put in a purple bag, and preserved inside the sculpture. So this is also a very unique culture in Dunhuang. However, after the 14th century, the Cave 17, it was buried with numerous manuscripts, and the Master Hongbian sculpture was removed to another cave. So in the early 20th century, when the cave were discovered again, it was preserved and put with numerous manuscripts inside the cave, with inside the whole cave. So the archaeologists, they don't know why and where and what is the reason for the putting all the manuscript and many Buddhist artifacts inside the cave. So after they remove the manuscript, they found the mural painting on the wall. And later they discover the Master Hongbian sculpture from another cave. So they discovered the Master Hongbian sculpture. At first, they are not sure is the sculpture belong to Master Hongbian. But when they open the sculpture and discover the bone ashes bag, they discover there are the written script with the name of Master Hongbian. So they identify and confirm this is the Master Hongbian. So they remove the sculpture from other cave and to put it inside its original place in Cave 17. So on the back, it is a depiction of two disciples of Master Hongbian. So it became a complete design inside the cave. So you can see the monk's bag that were used for Master Hongbian. It is also a very fashion bag nowadays. And his two disciples standing under the tree, under twin tree. And the twin tree, you can see the tree leaf. One side is white, another side is green. So the tree is also a local Dunhuang plant. If you visit Dunhuang, you will find, the tree, the color of the leaf have two colors. One side is black, green, another side is white. So the realistic depiction of the tree and the sculpture inside the cave, it makes the memorial cave so important for the eminent monk Hongbian. So these are all the introduction of the cave in the architectural type of the cave. So now we will go on to another part of today's topic. Okay. Okay. Earlier, I mentioned about the earliest three caves of Dunhuang. It includes the earliest, largest sculpture enshrined in Dunhuang Cave, in the cave 275. And it was enshrined with the Bodhisattva Maitreya. So in this session, we will introduce about the Kushang Empire and their influence in the Maitreya belief. So we will take a look of the King Ashoka and his influence. And after the King Ashoka, during the Kushang Empire in Gandhara region, we have the King Kanishka. So the King Ashoka, King Kanishka, they established a model for the king who sponsor Buddhism and promote Buddhist culture from India to Gandhara to China. So we will use the Buddhist sculpture from Gandhara to take a look of how the Maitreya cult, Maitreya belief, were transmitted from India, Gandhara to Dunhuang. So the earliest Bodhisattva sculpture in Dunhuang is this one in the cave 275. So based on the artistic feature, the sculpture, it was made with a very stylistic seated posture of the Maitreya Bodhisattva into Sita heaven. He's seated in cross ankle posture with both hands. The right hand was broken, but his left hand is open, showing the wishing grandness. And the left hand, probably, originally, there are something in the hand. But based on the iconography of Maitreya. So we have the Maitreya Bodhisattva holding the water jar. But probably this is not a water jar. Maybe it's a money jewel or something else. And the Maitreya Bodhisattva, he has a three-jeweled crown. The three-jeweled crown in the center with a Buddha on the crown. So the Buddha is the teacher of Maitreya. And on the back, we can also find the pattern, pattern of the flaming pattern on the halo. And he's seated in front of a triangle seat. Originally, the triangle seat was also designed with some pattern. the motif. And also on both sides of the matriarch Bodhisattva, we have 2 lions. And based on this element, we examine the whole sculpture, although it was made in Dunhuang. However, during the early phase of Dunhuang art, it has a strong Central Asian cultural element, because the lions are not the local Chinese products. It was imported from Persian or from foreign country, from India. So we have the very treasured 舶来品 from foreign country. It was designed in the Dunhuang as the lion. So I put the historical timeline so that you may be clear with the development of the Buddhism and Buddhist art in Dunhuang. So from around 3rd century BCE in India, the king Ashoka, he was converted to Buddhism, and after the king Ashoka, Buddhism was more and more popular and to be spread into the world. So Gandhara region also received Buddhism during the 3rd century BCE. And under the patron by the Gandharan Kushan Empire, King Kanishka. So King Kanishka, he sponsored Buddhism and propagated Buddhism. So we have the contemporary Kushan Empire with the Han Dynasty China. So during the Han Dynasty, there are quite a lot Buddhist monks. They travel from Kushan Empire and bring the Buddhist sutra from Kushan Empire to China. So in Han Dynasty, that is the beginning of the translation of Buddhist texts as the first phase of Buddhist text translation. And the contemporary time period to Roman Empire, it can be also examined from the historical timeline here. So during this time period, China had a very good trade contact with Roman Empire. China imports the very treasured products from Roman Empire into China. Roman Empire also import very treasured silk products from China to Roman Empire. So this is a comparative historical timeline. And then we can take a look of the beginning of Buddhist art during the Kushan Empire. In India and in Gandhara, in both regions, we have the earliest 2 artistic style, 2 art school of Buddha sculpture. So following the King Ashoka, in nowadays, based on the archaeologists, they discover there are quite a lot Buddhist stupa remain and Buddhist stone pillar remain under the patron by King Ashoka in India. So we have a lot of the stupa at the King Ashoka's stone pillar. The stone pillar contain edicts. So under the influence by King Ashoka, he also promoted and disseminate the Buddha's relics by the sending the missionary to the other country. So Gandhara region also received the Buddhist texts and Buddha's relics under the influence by King Ashoka. So based on the archaeological discovery in Gandhara region nowadays, there are quite a lot newly discovered Buddhist stupa, and some of them preserved with the Buddha's relics inside the stupa. So this is the importance of the Kushan Empire. And in Kushan Empire, under the patron by King Kanishka, we can find the earliest image of the Buddha were created during the 1st century AD. And the earliest image of the Buddha on the coin, on one side of the coin, the other side, it was carved with the image of the king. So we have the standing Buddha. He was depicted with several features of the auspicious sign of the great man, 32 marks of the Buddha. So we have the Buddha, he has the Ushnisha, the top knot. The Buddha has elongated ear, and the Buddha has a halo on the back. The Buddha performed the Abhaya Mudra. So the hand gesture associated with the Buddha, and his left hand is holding the garment, and in the standing posture, and with the inscription Bodo. So the 1st century images with the image of the Buddha, it also provides the evidence of the earliest stage of the creation of the Buddha image in physical form, in human form, in Indian history, Indian Buddhist culture. And the King Ashoka, his image was also carved on the coin. And based on the image of the King Ashoka in India, in Calcutta Museum, there is a stone sculpture. It is also the sculpture of the King Ashoka, because there is a inscription indicate this is a image of the King Ashoka. So this kind of the gold coin and the image of the Buddha and the King Ashoka indicate the flourishing of Buddhism during the Kushan Empire. So the Kushan Empire occupied the northwestern area of India. And you can see the Gandhara. There are several very important city Buddhist center during the ancient time. We have the Peshawar, Takshila, the Bactria. So some of the geographical term in the Gandhara region, it was also recorded by the travel record by Master Xuanzang. So nowadays, if we are study and research of the Indian Buddhist history, we need to read the travel record by Master Xuanzang, 大唐西域记. So the master, he recorded what he saw, where he traveled during his journey from China to India. So based on all the detailed record, so we identify there are several ancient Buddhist centers in Gandhara region. So under the influence by the beginning of making the Buddha sculpture or Buddha images from the 1st century AD, so in India, in Madura, it is one of the major Buddhist art school which created with the Madura art. And then we have the image of the standing Buddha, image of the Bodhisattva Maitreya, that were created under the influence of the Greco-Roman artistic style. So we have the Gandharan style of the Buddha and the Madura style of the Buddha. However, these two are not the only Buddhist art school in India. In southern India, in Andhra Pradesh, we have another Buddhist art school in the southeastern area of India. And the standing Buddha and also the other image of the Buddha that were also created in the southeastern India, Andhra Pradesh, that were found in Nagarjunakonda and Amaravati. So based on the stylistic feature of the art in the southern India, so we can identify the southern style of the Buddha statue were created in this area. So there are at least 3 Buddhist art centers. So based on the 2 major Buddhist art schools, we can identify the style of the Buddhist sculpture. They were created according to local art and local culture and local figure. So in Gandhara region, they create the very handsome young prince image of the Bodhisattva Maitreya and very handsome image of the Buddha, just like a Greco-Roman sculpture. And also in the local Indian culture, we have the Madhura style of Buddha statue. It contains a strong local Indian people's figure. So we have the early sculpture of the Buddha. So under the influence of the Kushan Empire, we have the Greco-Roman influence in the stone sculpture of the Buddha and the Bodhisattva. So we have the Buddha seated and performing the Dhamma Chakra Mudra. And we have the Bodhisattva Maitreya with the main attribute. He is holding the water jar. So in order to convey a young prince as a Brahmin young prince, so you can see the very handsome young prince figure that were created in Gandhara region. So these are the 3 major Buddhist art traditions from Gandhara. So the story related to the art mainly convey the 3 aspects of the story. The past life, just like the Jataka story, the present life of the biography of the Buddha, and also the future Buddha, the Maitreya Bodhisattva and Maitreya Buddha. So when the art and the Buddhist sutra were transmitted into China, so we have the development of the Maitreya images from Gandhara to China. So especially we will pay attention of the importance of the very early Maitreya Bodhisattva from Dunhuang Cave 275. So following the development of this artwork, we just divided the development of the Maitreya belief in China in 3 phases. From the Northern and Southern Dynasty, Weijing period, we have the popular with the designing of Maitreya Bodhisattva. In the Sui Tang Dynasty, we have the Maitreya Buddha. And in the late Tang to Song, the Maitreya Buddha became the laughing Buddha. The laughing Buddha. So according to the tradition and also the transformation of the image of Buddhist art, there is a very important point for us to bear in mind. That is the localization and sinicization. 本土化还有中国化. So localization, that the Buddhist art, it was created according to some certain culture of that background. So the Buddha was created look like Indian people in India. He was created look like a Greco-Roman art that were created in the Gandhara region. And in China, we found the Bodhisattva and the Buddha look like Chinese. When they were moved to Japan, they were created like Japanese, and in Korea, look like Korean. So all the craftsmen, all the artists, they create something very similar, familiar in their mind. So this is also a theory related to the consciousness. So they have their memory and the impression. Some of the deeds with the cultural element in their mind. And when they are thinking of creation and artwork, all the deeds, all the idea in their mind will be developed into the artwork. So this is also a feature that we identify the different image in different country. So we have the image of the Bodhisattva in Gandhara. He's holding a water jar in standing posture, the water jar in his left hand, and in seated posture, sometimes the water jar is also in the left hand. But in Madura art, the Maitreya Bodhisattva is also holding a water jar. But the sculpture is local Indian style. And later, during the 16th Kingdom period, at the beginning of the creation of the Buddhist Maitreya sculpture in China, we also find the standing Maitreya Bodhisattva, which contain with a strong Gandharan influence, right? So this is found in China, in Chang'an. However, it looks like the Gandharan style. But later, we can find in Dunhuang with the Maitreya Bodhisattva. So Maitreya is one of the major deity and the belief in Buddhism. The concept of Maitreya, it was very essential. When we understand the main doctrine in Buddhism, so we can understand why Maitreya appeared in different Buddhist schools. In Theravada school, they believe Maitreya. In Tibetan esoteric Buddhism, they also focus the deity of Maitreya. In Mahayana Buddhism, Maitreya is also very important. So Maitreya is a Sanskrit. In Pali is Maitreya, and Maitreya as the future Buddha, said to appear when Gautama Buddha's teaching declined, offering hope for a renewed Dharma. In the language in Toharian, in Gandhara, Maitreya, it was Maitra, or in Singhali, Maitri. In Buddhist Sutra, some sutra, the Maitreya has another name, Ajita, such as in Amitabha Sutra and Lotus Sutra. Maitreya literally means loving kindness. In Sanskrit, it means friendly and benevolent. Besides his immediate predecessor, Sakyamuni is one of the most frequently represented among the interesting Buddhist deity in temples of the oasis city situated on the northern Silk Road. So the image of the Maitreya in Tusita heaven were very popular, created in Gandharan art. So in Gandhara, in early Gandharan art, from around the 2nd to 3rd century CE, there are quite a lot of sculpture or stone relief with the depiction of Maitreya preaching the Dharma into Sita heaven. So in order to convey the story of Maitreya in Gandhara, in the tradition of according to the Gandhara culture, the using of the performance by making of the drama and the performance as the culture that was very popular in Gandhara. So here we can also identify the whole sculpture here. It reveals a designing with the beginning of performing the show, performing the story of Maitreya by opening the curtain, just like on the stage. Opening the curtain, we will begin to tell you the story of Maitreya. So the designing with the curtain, it is also one cultural element in Gandhara region. So it also indicates the popularity of the belief of Maitreya. So we have many examples of the Maitreya preaching the Dharma into Sita heaven. And following the development of the early Buddhist art, we have the early image of Maitreya Bodhisattva from Madura and Gandhara. And also later, we have the giant Maitreya Buddha that were created in the Tang Dynasty. So Maitreya, he was recorded in Buddhist Sutra, and he played several different roles in Buddhist doctrine. Sometimes he is a bodhisattva listening to the Buddha's teaching. Sometimes he was a bodhisattva preaching the Dharma into Sita heaven, just like the stone relief here. And sometimes his story was recorded in Buddhist Sutra that he will be the future Buddha. He will following the Buddha Sakyamuni in the future. So according to the different records in Buddhist Sutra, so Maitreya were created in different form of art. So we have the Maitreya in the Bodhisattva form. We have the Maitreya in Buddha form. So based on the different Buddhist sutra. So yes. You mean this one? This is, we call it 乐山大佛 in 乐山 in Sichuan. But usually in the Tang Dynasty, we identify the Maitreya Buddha by identify with a seated posture with pendant leg. So you can see the pendant leg, seated posture. He could be identified as the Maitreya Buddha. In the Tang Dynasty, there are several giant Buddha statues that were created according to the Maitreya Buddha's doctrine. So they were created with a seated pendant leg. So this is one of the giant Maitreya Buddha in China. We usually call the 乐山大佛, but it could be Maitreya, and it can be also called Sakyamuni Buddha. Because if we convey the story of the future Maitreya Buddha's story, it could be a Maitreya Buddha. But if we think that the Buddha Sakyamuni, he already attained his Buddhahood in present life. But he was also a bodhisattva in previous life. So before he achieved the status as a Buddha Sakyamuni, the process for his practicing is the same as the Maitreya Bodhisattva. So the past story are all the same for the past Bodhisattva, past in the Jataka story. So that is all the same. So we can interpret it of the sculpture as a Buddha or of Sakyamuni or Maitreya. Yeah. Yeah, but it's usually we identify in the Tang Dynasty, some of the seated in the pendant leg are the Maitreya Buddha, but not all, not all. Some of the pendant leg seated posture of the Buddha Sakyamuni, it was also recorded with the inscription. That is the Sakyamuni Buddha. So it depends on the idea by the donor, and it depends on the concept in the whole group of the design of the sculpture. So we need to examine from some other detail. Yeah. Okay, I think we run out of the time today, so we don't have the time enough for the other parts, but I will continue next week. So I will explain the mural painting of Maitreya in Dunhuang, but we also need to cover the origin from Gandhara, so it will be easier for you to understand the development and the change in history. Okay, so thank you.